Greetings, adventurers, and welcome back to Abnormal Voyages. My name is David, and today we find ourselves in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, and that can mean only one thing. We are here to investigate Mothman, and what better place to do that than the world's only Mothman Museum. Tag along.
We're going to a place that you've never heard of before. It's Abnormal Voyages. You're gonna learn something new. We're gonna open new doors. It's Abnormal Voyages.
We are now inside the Mothman Museum, and we start at the very beginning of the story, back on November 15th, 1966. On that fateful November night, we had the first reported sightings of Mothman. It was two couples who spotted Mothman, Roger and Linda Scarberry, and Steve and Mary Maletti. They were driving along at night and claimed they saw what they described as a large flying man with 10-foot wings. And when their car's headlights happened to land on the creature, the eyes glowed a fierce bright red. This incident occurred while they were near what was called the TNT area, which was right outside of Point Pleasant and was the site of a former World War II munitions plant. Over the next few days, more sightings came pouring in of the same creature. All of the descriptions seemed to contain large humanoid figures with impressive wingspans, glowing red eyes, and one report even claims that this creature was responsible for the disappearance of his German Shepherd. Biologist Robert Smith of West Virginia University tried to tell people that it was possibly a sandhill crane, but those who had seen it knew that this was certainly no bird. Sightings of Mothman continued for a full year, but then things got serious. On December 15th, 1967, disaster struck in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. At approximately 5 p.m., right in the middle of rush hour traffic, the Silver Bridge completely collapsed. Cars and people alike spilled into the icy waters below, resulting in the deaths of 46 people. For a small town like Point Pleasant, this was an absolute tragedy. Investigations into the cause of the bridge failing would later reveal that all of it came back to a very small single eye bar in a suspension chain. Due to a small defect of exactly 0.1 inches, the entire structure collapsed. Unfortunately, the technology that would have been needed to find a small crack like this didn't exist at the time, and the only way it could have been found would have been by completely disassembling the parts. So, by all conventional standards, nobody could have seen this coming. However, perhaps Mothman did. Sightings of Mothman had been occurring throughout the entire year before the disaster. On top of that, a few people came forward to claim that they had possibly seen him around the bridge, very close to it happening. Even stranger, after the Silver Bridge collapse, the sightings seemed to stop. Nobody saw Mothman again for a very long time. This soon led people to believe that perhaps Mothman had come as sort of a warning to let people know disaster was near. Maybe he was a harbinger of doom. Whether his appearance in Point Pleasant was a warning or a threat, nobody may ever truly know. But around that same time, some of the residents of Point Pleasant reported having some very odd dreams. One woman in particular said she had a dream a few weeks before the bridge disaster of people in the water, very cold, and Christmas presents floating by. Little did she know that this exact dream would come true in just a short amount of time. Throughout the years, other sightings of possibly Mothman have been linked to other tragic events. In one case, he actually appeared to help. September 10th, 1978 in Germany, a group of miners was blocked from being able to enter their mine by a creature with glowing red eyes and large black wings. Sounds familiar, right? At the time, they called it the Freeburg Shrieker due to its screech, and it chased the miners out of the mine. Less than an hour later, the mine collapsed and likely would have killed everyone inside if they had been there. We skip ahead to 1986 at the Chernobyl incident. In the year before the explosion, there were numerous claims of a creature that again matched Mothman's description, flying around the plant. And people nearby also reported having strange phone calls and nightmares. Another energy plant disaster, Marcus Pulis claimed that he saw it in 2011 near the Fukushima plant in Japan, right before an earthquake happened that triggered the meltdown there. Even in New York City, on September 11th, 2001, there were witnesses who claimed that they saw a very similar looking creature flying parallel to the second plane as it launched itself into the World Trade Center. While some of these sightings, or even most of them, may have been misunderstandings or things that are easily explained away, such as people seeing birds or simply lying to get attention, it seems irresponsible to write all of them off as not being something extraordinary. Too many people from too many walks of lives and different places across the world have reported such similar things that it's hard to believe that there isn't something out there. And even though the name Mothman began here in Point Pleasant in the 50s, there was a similar report in 1926 in China where they saw what they began calling the man dragon hovering over a dam that later collapsed and killed 15,000 people. People aren't sure if Mothman is from the stars or perhaps from another dimension, but it seems that he knows right when tragedy is going to strike. This begs the question, though, with all the tragedies in the world, why isn't Mothman seen more frequently? Well, the museum offers one possible explanation: the Men in Black. These men seem to feature in several conspiracy theories and extraterrestrial lore, and supposedly they exist purely to keep things like Mothman out of the public eye. This is actually a picture of one of the reported Men in Black. If they've been working to keep Mothman under wraps, however, it seems that they may be failing in that mission, as he has become a very popular figure. The popularity and legends of Mothman seems to grow with every passing year. Some people put serious investigative work into it.
Many people have investigated the Mothman phenomenon, but perhaps nobody quite as much as John Keel, who dedicated several years of his life to figuring out just what was going on in Point Pleasant. He is also the author of the Mothman Prophecies.
John Keel was a longtime investigator of not only Mothman and other cryptids, but UFOlogy and plenty of paranormal subjects. Keel was extremely thorough in his investigations, making sure that he researched and interviewed plenty of people close to the sources. He was extremely respected. As a matter of fact, he even had correspondence with Senator John F. Kennedy before he became president. Keel felt it was paramount that the general public be made aware of the going-ons of UFOs and everything that the government possibly already knew about them. John developed a huge interest in Mothman. He spent a lot of time in Point Pleasant interviewing people, looking at original statements from the people who had seen him in the past. Everything he could find, he compiled into his books and made one of the best known of his works, the Mothman Prophecies. Unfortunately, John Keel is no longer with us and has passed away, but his work lives on and continues to inspire people today to further their knowledge and explore the unknown of what may be out there. Not to mention, his book became a very popular movie called, just like his original writings, The Mothman Prophecies. The movie starred Richard Gere and took a lot of what was in the book and mixed it up a little bit, but it still got the main story of Mothman out into the public eye in a way that he hadn't been before. A few things were sensationalized and twisted around a little bit, but that's usually what happens in Hollywood anyways. What truly matters is that this really put Point Pleasant and Mothman on the map. Very appropriately, the museum had a ton of different props and costumes on display. So much of the Mothman story has Point Pleasant integral to its tale. So, where else would most of these things find a happy home? After the release of the movie, interest spiked not only in Mothman, but in the book that inspired it, Mothman Prophecies, and through this, many more people were soon intrigued by the Mothman legends and finding out the truth behind the movie. From that cold December night in 1966, the decades have been fairly kind to Mothman. Whether he be a rarely seen creature, or perhaps an alien or interdimensional being, and whether he be here to help us out or to foreshadow doom, he's become one of the most beloved cryptids in the entire world. He's already reached the level of legendary and hangs out there with the likes of Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster. Today, you can find countless toys, comic books, pieces of art, whatever you can think of, all dedicated to and featuring Mothman himself. You can pick up a fierce statue with glowing eyes, or a cuddly version to protect you from nightmares. It seems that Mothman fever is really picking up, and honestly, I don't think it shows any signs of slowing anytime soon. Whether he be fact or fiction, I think it's fair to say that Mothman has most certainly made a huge impact on the world. And who knows, the next time you find yourself driving late at night down a dark, desolate road, look around. You just might see the flap of giant wings and red eyes staring back at you.
And to commemorate the legend of Mothman, right here in the city, they have this gorgeous statue. Who knows when we'll see the real Mothman again? Well, my name is David, and this has been Abnormal Voyages. Thanks for tagging along. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching Abnormal Voyages. Thanks for watching.